Hello there, and welcome to the Eckstein Film Podcast, where we talk film, TV, games, and all that jazz. Let us know tomorrow. This week we're talking about the Tales of the Jedi. My name is Tom, and as
Woo!
always, I'm joined with my co-host John. How are you this week?
I am doing great. Very excited to talk about Tales of the Jedi, which
Mm.
we should have covered a long time ago, but a bit weird. But
Yes.
here we are. Here we
Well,
are.
you know what? We had a lot to do, a lot to cover in this time when it came out, so it did slip under, but we love some Star Wars content, so of course we're gonna cover it. Give us that synopsis. Give us that plot description.
Yes. Synopsis. You probably heard me bang the table because
I didn't hear you bang the table. You're okay.
Wait. Here.
There it is.
There it is, right.
Woo!
Tales of the Jedi, a collection of shorts featuring parables built around Jedi from the prequel era. The lives of two distinctly different Jedi, Ahsoka Tano and Count Dooku. Each will be put to the test as they make choices that will define their destinies. Ooh.
Ooh, very
And
good.
it's created by Dave Filoni.
It is created by Dave
Yes.
Filoni, so that's the guy
Yes.
behind half of Star Wars at this point. Clone Wars, Rebels, Bad Batch, Resistance, a big chunk of Mandalorian, the upcoming Ahsoka show. We got a lot of stuff from Dave. So yeah, Tales of the Jedi. Now I'm very interested because as somebody who hasn't seen the Clone Wars, I'm interested to
Yes.
think, what did you think of this?
Well, I'm asking you this time. Well, I know that you've seen the Clone Wars. You've
I
seen
have.
every second of it. You know every lore. You know
It's true.
every droid or
Oh, stop
anything
it.
like
Stop
Chopper
it.
or
Yeah.
R2D2,
Yeah.
all that jazz. Or I
Yeah,
don't know.
the most obscure droids, Chopper and R2D2. Ah, yes.
But you know every character that comes to your
Sure.
mind. But for me, when I'm watching this, I was fine. I was just watching the show,
Wait,
and it
are
was
you
very.
are you telling me you didn't see the cameo of I'm a Gundai?
I'm a Gundam.
It's a character from the
That's
Clone
not a character.
Wars.
That's not.
Yeah,
You gotta
it
be
is.
trolling me.
Yeah,
You
no,
gotta be
no.
trolling me.
Yes, this whole thing is gonna die. I'm a Gundai.
No, you gotta be kidding
No,
me, right?
no, he's true. It's true.
It's not.
Google it.
You gotta be
Google
trolling me,
it.
right? No.
Google it.
I'm gun. I was about to say something really good about this. I was like building up. I was like, "Tell the Jedi." Oh my god, powerful moments between Count Dooku, like he's leading into being like manipulated by Palpatine, and then Ahsoka. That was really powerful. But then you go,
I'm
"There's a
bringing I'm a
character.
Gundai.
I'm a Gundam." What? What do you mean? Wait.
I'm bringing I'm a
Right,
Gundai. He
carry on.
deserves all the content.
Was it in the credits? The name?
I used to have his trading card. I don't know if he's ever been.
He's on a trading card.
Yeah, I don't know if he's ever been like named on screen. But wait, I'll send you his name.
Okay. Of course, it's spelled like that. I'm a Gundam.
Jedi Master Ima Gundai was a Nikto who participated in the Clone Wars with the rank of general. He served with honor on Ryloth, giving his own life to help Cham Syndulla and the Twilight Resistance stand against separatist occupation. He wielded his blue lightsaber until the very end. Oh, it's enough to make a grown man cry. Look at him.
I'm a
He's
Gundai.
beautiful.
Oh, him!
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I remember now. That was I saw him in which episode?
Supply lines.
Yes. I remember
So
now.
on the
I'm a
so
Gundai.
anyone who's watched the chronological order of the Clone Wars will know that Ima Gundai is very early. He's like the 4th episode of the Clone Wars.
Yes, I saw him.
Yeah.
I was like, why do I know him? But then I did not know his name. I'm a Gundai.
So he shows up in episode 5 of Tales of the Jedi, and I
Yeah.
was immediately like, "Oh, this is very early in the war. If
Yeah,
he's still
very early.
alive, because he
Very
died.
early.
You know what?
Yeah.
At this point, I'm tempted to put I'm a Gundai as the thumbnail for this episode.
Yes, I'm a Gundai.
Okay,
the
enough talk.
legendary.
Enough I'm a Gundai talk. Please tell me your thoughts on Tales of the Jedi.
Can't believe you just segue from I'm a Gundai into that because you let me you didn't.
You
I
started
thought
bringing
you
up
were trolling me.
You
I
started
thought you
bringing
were
up
trolling me.
cameos. Do you ever hear of Glup Shitto?
Yes, I've heard it. I heard about it.
Shitto,
My
that's
friends
all I have
kept
to
talking
say.
about it. Right, Tales of the Jedi. I thought it was a very powerful anthology. Well, not anthology, but like a prequel inception show. It was giving us like the emotional pinpoints of the show and also like where it was leading to characters. Like why did these characters come into play in the Clone Wars? Like how Count Dooku was very disappointed about how the Senate wasn't treating people right, and then it leads to him serving Darth Sidious. I thought, oh, that's why he joined the dark side, and it was great to explore that character early on because we didn't really explore that in some of the films. But I haven't seen the Clone Wars, so you probably had that context somewhere. But for me, I'm a newbie. I'm watching this all the way through, and I thought that was really powerful. Like, oh, so that's why he's going to the dark side.
It's interesting that you say that because Dooku, he doesn't have that extra stuff in the Clone Wars. He's
Wait,
one of
what?
the few he's one of the few characters who they don't really develop him in the Clone Wars.
Oh,
And so these shorts were really, I mean, okay, there is a book called Dooku Jedi Lost that does explore his time and the reason why he leaves. There's actually a lot of controversy about this show and how it kind of plays with some of the canon material. I'll talk about that a little bit. But yeah, I thought it was really cool to see because Ahsoka, we've had so much Ahsoka content. She's essentially the main character of the Clone Wars. She's in Rebels, she's in The Mandalorian, she's getting her own show. Like, she is Dave Filoni's creation. It makes sense that we would have Ahsoka as like the character to kind of make people want to watch this show. But I think Dooku was the best stuff. Dooku's stuff really made me more interested in this whole plot. And I think the contrast between these two Jedi and how they both become disillusioned with the Council and they both leave the Council and they both have similar experiences and how they both deal with that. And they come from the same lineage. You know, if you think about it, Yoda trains Dooku, who trains Qui-Gon, who trains Obi-Wan, who trains Anakin, who trains Ahsoka. Like, they're all from the same kind of like line of masters and Padawans. And I thought that was really, really interesting to explore.
yeah. Once you realize about, like the Clone Wars and then Star Wars and its whole universe, there's everything that puts into play, like
Mm.
everything that has continuity. Because if you look at any other show, is like one continuous journey, like you're watching it in chronological order. But here, they fill in the gaps, like they're giving you puzzle pieces and you putting the pieces all together and then you understand the story, which is really intriguing. Like you're pulling the audience in, like, where are you in that time zone? Like, we're watching Andor, which is excellent, by the way. We'll talk about it. We did talk about it, so
Yes.
yeah, yes,
Yeah, no,
and
absolutely. I think a lot of Star Wars adds texture. Well,
yes,
basically, ever since the original trilogy, I would say a good 70% of stories, especially the stories that we've seen in the films and in TV shows, the prequels, the Clone Wars, Rogue One, Andor, a lot of this stuff is adding texture and adding more layers to the stories. And this is exactly the same. This makes you rewatch stuff very differently. We get scenes in this where you see Padme's funeral, and we get the added details that Ahsoka was at the funeral, and Bail
yeah.
Organa and Mon Mothma were also at the funeral, and that adds weight because Ahsoka and Padme were friends in the Clone Wars. That adds more of that dramatic tension that we will now get when we rewatch Revenge of the Sith, similar to how the Clone Wars adds so much of that. And I don't think I'll ever get tired of it. I love that Star Wars does that. It fills in gaps and it makes the story so much richer. We get to see Dooku react to Qui-Gon's death and stuff like that, and that's really cool.
Yeah, and adding to that, it just gives you emotional weight, like when we're watching that, as you said, and I think that's a great way of like, oh, there's so many emotional pinpoints in the story, and then you want to go back, and then Ahsoka's story was really sad. It was like, well, I know what happens, kinda later on in Order 66, and I really liked the episode where she was training to block the stun guns from Rex's team, and it was building up to the point where it was Order 66, and Rex says, I hope that training put into order. I don't know what he said, but it's something like that. And also, I want to talk about what was the dogs in the first episode.
Oh yeah, I don't know what they're called. They're a new creature, but they're kind of like some sort of mix between like a dog, a panda, and like a loth cat. Very cute, very
I
very cute.
I want one because it was so damn cute. I was like, that is the best character in the show. Dogs. That
MVP of the
yeah,
show, the dogs.
envy. Yeah,
And we did get an
dogs.
actual dog in episode 2 as well, which is one
Oh
of the only
yeah.
times that dogs have been mentioned in the Star Wars universe. They were also mentioned in a book called Phasma, which kind of talks about them being long
Oh yeah.
gone. There are some really nice little details. As I kind of touched upon before, this does play fast and loose with the books. As I said, there was a book called Dooku Jedi Lost, which tells the story of Dooku leaving the Jedi Order. And it does fit. Thankfully, the Dooku episodes fits into that chronology. For example, Dooku leaves the Order, but keeps his lightsaber and still visits the temple. So that's why he's there. So in the episode where he's
Right.
mourning Qui-Gon, he's already
Yeah.
left. He's already left the Order, but he's coming back to obviously erase the Camino file, and he's still treated as a master, even though he's left. So he leaves on good terms with the Jedi. So that's a very interesting thing to kind of watch it from that perspective.
Yeah.
But the Ahsoka book, that tells the story of the final episode of the show. It tells the story of Ahsoka encountering the Inquisitor, living life on a farm and trying to keep her head down and kind of meeting Bail Organa. The problem is that this kind of really waters down that story, does it very simply, and it has to be said, it does erase some queer representation from the book, which really sucks, because Star Wars, as much as I love it, especially on screen, its queer representation is very lackluster. Great that Andor gave us some queer representation, but still, it was really disappointing to see that and kind of water that stuff down. And we had a similar thing with them changing canon in The Bad Batch, and let's just hope that they take on these criticisms and consider all the stories instead of just doing what they want and kind of ignoring everything.
I've got nothing to say that because I haven't read the books or anything to read, but
That's fine. They're good reads.
Oh, I'll add that to my reading list. Yeah, she fought the Inquisitor, which I thought just a quick battle, I guess.
Yes, the Inquisitor showed up, played by Clancy Brown, of all people.
Clancy Brown? No.
Yeah.
Cool.
He shows up. He's obviously been in Star Wars quite a few times. He played Savage Opress and Ryder Azadi and that guy in The Mandalorian whose name escapes me. And he shows up and she just defeats him immediately.
And then do you know who that Grand Inquisitor is then?
That's just a regular Inquisitor. I don't know.
I
don't know who. In the book, it's the sixth brother, but there's no
Yes.
indication
The
whether this
third whatever sister. I don't know, but that is.
Yeah, no, we don't know who it is. Not really. But what's interesting is that it kind of deflates. You know, like when she's defeated it just kind of deflates like a balloon. Like what?
I mean, it kind of deflated like in episode 4. You know, when Obi-Wan just gets hit by Darth Vader's.
Sure, but the Sith can't do that. So, you know, as a dark side user, Inquisitors shouldn't be able to do that, because if one dies as a dark side user, they cannot return from death. That's one of the big things. That's why Palpatine is so hell-bent on living forever, whereas Jedi can, because they're more one with the Force, and, you know, they haven't had their connection severed. So I don't know why the Inquisitor just crumpled to the floor, but okay, sure. Why not?
And also, I want to ask as well, because I'm going to be asking a lot of questions because you know everything about it. But Camino, why do I remember Camino?
Oh, well, Camino is the clone home planet. So you see it.
Yes,
you see it in Attack of the Clones, and then we see it across the Clone Wars, and then obviously we've talked about this in the pod before. At the end of the Bad Batch season 1, and obviously Bad Batch season 2 is airing currently, and we will be doing an episode on that when that's over. But in Bad Batch season 1, Camino is destroyed and it sinks. So that's why you know Camino. So when Dooku erases Camino, that's why in episode 2, when Obi-Wan's trying to find it, it doesn't show up on the records.
Right, because it's hiding the plans of Darth Sidious, you know.
Yes, exactly.
Wow, there's a really interesting thing that this one character, Palpatine or Sidious, whatever you call him, he is the one character that ruins everything. Well, he wins basically, you know, when Order 66 came in, and he basically just manipulated people, and then he was just switching sides. He was like a senator and then the Sith Lord, and he was just like basically trying to build up everything to make it worse, and then trying to gain control. And you can see that when he talks to Count Dooku and he's just like manipulating him. And then I thought that was a great way of showing that it was the Jedi Fallen Order. I said the title of the game. Yeah, it's a great game.
Whoa, it is a great game. Jedi Survivor's out soon, which is very exciting. But yeah, I think far and away my favorite episode was episode 4 with Dooku and Yaddle and oh my god, just the whole scene where Dooku says to Palpatine, "You've gone too far." And Palpatine, you can see that everyone is just a tool to Palpatine. He doesn't care about anyone. It's all about his own means. He talks about his apprentice, bearing in mind he has had Maul since Maul was a child. And he talks about Maul's death, and it's just like, we both lost apprentices. Get over it. And I thought that was just such a good scene, and seeing them hatching their schemes and the way that Palpatine's playing Dooku. This makes Dooku a much more tragic character. You can see in episode 2 and episode 3 how he doesn't agree with Jedi Council's methods, and his form of justice is much more brutal, but he's not necessarily a bad person. You know, he just doesn't agree with their way of doing things. things. He's trying to be a good Jedi, but obviously eventually he falls. And I thought that was really, really compelling to explore.
And also, by the way, Jedi Survivor comes out in March 2020. Anyway,
Yes, it
yeah,
is.
you don't really think as Count Dooku as a character as much because you've seen him in the prequel. You only see him like get killed by Anakin. Oh, and he gets betrayed. He gets betrayed. Actually, it's a great way of seeing him. Like he's ruthless. Like Darth Sidious is ruthless about his apprentice. He doesn't want people weaker than him. You know, like what he said that Maul doesn't want it anymore. He just ruins relationships. That guy.
Yeah. They're all just a means to an end for Palpatine. And I love how, obviously, so what we've seen in episode 2, well, episode 2 being Attack of the Clones, when Dooku speaks to Obi-Wan and he says, Qui-Gon always spoke very highly of you. I wish he was here. We agreed on quite a lot. It seems like it's a trick, but we see in Tales of the Jedi that's not a trick. Dooku and Qui-Gon genuinely cared for each other, and there's that beautiful scene after Qui-Gon's dead where Dooku's standing by the tree in the Jedi Temple, and Yaddle comes up to him, and he talks about how Qui-Gon grew up on Coruscant and how he was fascinated by this tree. You can really feel that Dooku loved Qui-Gon, and he will really miss him, and he feels anger at the hypocrisy of the Jedi Council and how they're not doing anything about anything. Remember in the prequels, Qui-Gon says, we've encountered a Sith, and the Jedi Council are like, okay, I doubt it. And then at the end, they're like, oh my God, it's a Sith. And it's like Qui-Gon died for nothing. It's so easy to forget that the Jedi Council are so important to why the Jedi Order fell. Because in that era, in the prequel era, the Jedi Council were just consumed by their own hubris and hypocrisy. And I love stories that explore that. You get that a lot in the prequels, you get it in the Clone Wars, and they mention it in The Last Jedi. I think that it's really great to deconstruct who are supposed to be the guardians of peace and justice, and instead they just kind of sit around and debate stuff and never really have the right course of action.
Yeah, the prequels does show that the Jedi Council was doomed to fail at the start because they were just completely consumed by the hubris, as you said. Yeah,
Mm.
that's a great way of looking at that. Like they completely failed against Palpatine, and they didn't understand, how it's gonna work out together. And then Anakin was part of Palpatine's plan, and then that completely ruined the state of the Jedi and Order 66 as well. So it was like a great way of building that. And also, it kind of hinted in episode 5 when Ahsoka was training. He wanted Ahsoka to be better every time blocking, and it just kept doing it and kept doing it. Like try again, try again. It was very difficult for Ahsoka at that time, and I think that is a way of showing Anakin really tired about the state of the Jedi at that point because he wants Ahsoka to be better, and he kind of puts that anger out, if you know what I mean. Like he wants Ahsoka to be better. I don't know what I'm talking about. Wants
No,
to,
I understand. He's continually frustrated with the Jedi Council
yes,
and their
yeah,
methods, even down to the smallest things, like the way they handle training. And
yeah.
his methods may seem quite intense, with Ahsoka getting stunned all the time, but that is basically exactly what happens when Order 66 breaks out. They start shooting her, and they're all in a circle around her, and she's dodging everything and deflecting the blaster bolts back at the ceiling. And amazing, amazing scene. And it's made even better now that we have that information. And I love seeing the contrast between that and a Jedi who cares so deeply in Anakin, and episode 3, where Dooku and Windu are going to get the body of the dead Jedi. And Windu doesn't care. Windu's just sitting there like, oh, let's just get the Jedi and leave. Whereas Dooku is more bothered with, this mystery. And, what, again, like as the title of episode 2, he wants justice. He cares more about that. And again, it's all about the Jedi and their own, like, sense of hypocrisy. And I love the way that those themes come out.
Yeah, it was just very powerful. Seeing at the end, Ahsoka tries to be better at blocking the stun, and then it works, as you said in that episode as well.
Yeah, I mean, I do wish that because these shorts are about between 10 and 15 minutes long. I wish they were more around 20 minutes because there's a lot of stuff that they don't waste a moment. They have to work really fast. And I wish that they maybe took a little bit more time to sit down with the characters in some of these moments than speed through things so fast.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like the episodes could have been longer, like they could have explored a lot more emotional impact. And also, I wish they could have explored like more of Yaddle. Yaddle got killed quickly. You know what I mean? Like, okay, how many times have we seen Yaddle throughout the entire universe of Star Wars?
She was on screen, she's literally just been in Phantom Menace. She's been in the High Republic, but this is her first on-screen thing since Phantom Menace.
I don't remember her in Phantom Menace, actually.
She didn't say anything. She was just in the background. She's another glup shitto.
Oh my god. Oh, by the way, the voice acting for Yaddle was excellent. Like Bryce Dallas
Yes.
Howard,
Brilliant. Yeah,
brilliant.
it
Yeah,
was. Amazing.
she must do more voice acting. That was just brilliant.
She's been on a roll with Star Wars. She's directed some really good episodes of The Mandalorian as well.
Oh hell yeah, that was great. I love that. What else? Yeah, I didn't really feel that emotional when she got killed or anything like.
Mm.
She was like, "Oh no, please don't kill me," and then
Yeah,
Dooku's like,
it's more of a moment for Dooku than it is for Yaddle. But I did really enjoy the way that, because normally we see the Sith handing their hand out to the Jedi and being like, join me. Whereas this time we got Yaddle to be like, hold her hands up and be like, the Jedi, they are at risk of losing their way. Join me and we can, help them. And Dooku, obviously, I love the moment when Dooku crushes her with the door. Like, ooh, that is brutal. And I love the way that she then lifts it back up and the light comes cascading in and it blinds Sidious and he shields his eyes, but Dooku is almost entranced by it. Like, it makes you think about Dooku in such a different way. I loved it so much.
"Yeah, that was a great way of seeing that from that perspective. Like it is his moment as well." Oh yeah, Yaddle spoke like
She did. She
yeah,
did.
and that means Yoda for hundreds of years is speaking in riddles or backwards, whatever.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Yoda is just a little crackpot.
He's like,
Yaddle's just like talking normally, and Yoda's like in the corner. I love him. I think he's brilliant. I love that this makes Yoda seem even more like a little kooky fool when you meet him in Empire Strikes Back. And he's
"Oh
just
yeah,
taking Luke's stuff, he's eating his food. Brilliant. I love it. I do think that, if I were to criticize anything, I don't know if Ahsoka was the right choice, really. The episode where Ahsoka's when she's a child, that didn't really do anything for me. I don't think it really adds anything to her story. The show looks beautiful. The animation is amazing always, but
and the
yeah, I didn't really.
dogs."
There wasn't really. I mean, hey, the dogs are amazing. But yeah, I feel like I would like more seasons of this. I want to see in more seasons different Jedi. I've seen some people online throw out the idea of 3 episodes about Leia, 3 episodes about Ben Solo, Rey, Finn, like sequel era characters like Luke. There's loads of characters you can do. I'm a Gundai. Come on. Come on. Come on. 3 episodes. I'm a Gun. No,
I'm
8 episodes. No,
gonna die.
50 episodes of I'm a Gundai. Just
50.
news. 50. It's not enough. It's not enough.
It's
But
not
yeah,
enough.
like I feel like we need more. I'd like to see different sides to this series, and it could go to some really interesting places.
Yeah. Oh, I sound like the Minecraft villager. Hmm. I wish
Yeah.
the episodes were longer. I wish there was more time to explore, but
Yeah.
overall, it was just an emotional story. And Ahsoka's, I mean, I'm not going to complain about Ahsoka's story or anything because I didn't get to see it much in the Clone Wars.
Yes.
So, yeah, I would give it an 8 out of 10 or 7.
Oh, cool. Yeah, no, I'm going 7. I think that's interesting. You haven't seen the Clone Wars, so you obviously would get more out of it than I do, especially the Ahsoka stuff. But yeah, the Dooku stuff, brilliant. Awesome. Very
Cool.
good. So yeah, thanks everyone for listening. If you're watching on YouTube and you enjoyed it, you can give us a like and subscribe if you want to see more. And if you're listening on Spotify, you can follow and give us a 5-star review if you think we're worthy. Next week is Ant-Man. We are doing what is possibly the most underwhelming MCU trilogy. I guess we'll see with Quantumania.
Yeah.
And yeah, you can send us an email, tell us your thoughts about Tales of the Jedi, ask us questions or anything like that. We will answer it on the podcast itself. And you can follow us as well on Twitter and Instagram at OurSameFunPod.
Yes. Go and see Jedi Tales of the Jedi. I was about to say Jedi Fallen Order, but yeah, it's a great game.
I mean,
But
hey, you should play Jedi Fallen Order. I mean, it's a great game. I would really like to do an episode on Jedi Fallen Order. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see if we
we'll
have
see.
time. That would
We'll
be
have
great.
time.
But
That would be great.
still,
When we did the Black Adam episode, so
yeah.
this is a long time. We were just like discussing about Tales of the Jedi, and we were just talking about like how Yaddle was speaking perfectly, but Yoda was. At the end of the Zoom call, I accidentally left, but I said how high I am.
And that was it. And then he just left.
And that was it. I left.
That was-
What a Jedi I was. I was
it
like,
was,
oh,
it's
I
a
didn't mean to
beautiful
leave. I
moment.
didn't mean to leave. And then you said that. But that was so funny that
It was
I left it
amazing.
like that.
That's how we should end it. Different ending. Just say it and then we'll end the pod like that.
Okay, I think that fits for the thing as well. Anyway, take what you're given.
Give nothing back.
Mm.
Come on, you can do it.
Hi, it must be. How high we are. Smoking. Tune in for Ant-Man next week, you must. Like, subscribe, and
Oh, I hate
What else?
everything.
What else? What else?
watch The Bad Batch season 2. Coming out in February.
It's
I
already
mean,
out.
Yoda
I don't know.
spoke earlier.
It's been out for like a month. But yes, Yoda. Thank you, Yoda. You've got a
Thank
better
you,
Yoda voice than
Thank
I
you.
do.
Thank
Okay.
you telling us how high you were. Anyway,
Okay.
take it easy,
Goodbye. Oh yeah,
Goodbye.
take care of
Yeah.
the Goodbye. Oh
Okay.
no. This is it. This is
Ah.